Hello everybody, Reggie Time here, and in this video I'm pretty much entirely going to be promoting a new venture that I'm hoping to kickstart. Um, as we all know, good games and decent rate back deals, they're pretty hard to come by in online poker in 2019. Rate back, well, doesn't really exist at all, does it? And good volume in games that aren't like really like pretty saturated by like the competent players or kind of like not that good but tight players, it's like virtually impossible to achieve. It's hard to get good volume in decent games. I think we all know that now, and yeah, it's not great. I've been putting most of my volume in on Sky Poker this year, but even I'm beginning to find that outside of the weekends, the games are just drying up markedly. I mean, anyone who plays on Sky will know that, and it feels like the site is in a slow, but probably irreversible decline. Certainly in their cash games, I know a lot of that the MTT guarantees are dropping too. It just seems that they're not doing that much to well, they're certainly not doing much to attract new players to the site, and they're not doing that much to protect the games either. So for me, as a player that takes game selection very seriously, I'm just finding it harder and harder to put decent hours in at the tables on the mainstream sites, and I'm beginning to include Sky on that now. Weekends, pretty good, in fact, very good. Monday through Thursday, pretty crap to be honest with you, and it's really hard to like motivate myself to play outside of like Thursday evenings through to Sunday evenings. So yeah, with that in mind, I mean, just to give you a little bit of a history of what happens to you if you run like a relatively popular Facebook site and YouTube channel, although my YouTube channel isn't huge. I've been like over the last few years, I've been approached by tons of people who manage poker clubs on like the PPP on the Triple P poker networks or like the U poker networks, and I've always resisted them because, like you, I've read the horror stories that have come out. I think there was New York Poker King was probably the most high profile one, who ran a poker club and then kind of ran off with players' money. Clearly a massive cunt. So I've always been like, these regulated sites are dodgy, um, and like our funds aren't safe on them, so therefore they should be kind of like resisted as much as possible. But that's until like pretty recently. I've increasingly began to feel that like now was the right time to, for me personally, to take a look at these clubs and the games. As we talked about already, the clubs don't come without risk. I mean, just a simple Google search, and you can probably find a handful of horror stories about these clubs. Um, and most of the common scandals are just managers not paying players out, etc. But relatively speaking, they are few and far between. Still more than ideal, of course, because we don't want any scandals. But even regulated sites have the scandals. So I mean, when you play online poker, it's clearly never without risk. Um, so I've been talking with a gentleman for quite a long while now, on and off. And a few weeks ago, I finally decided to fuck it. Come on, let's look at the games. Things are getting not dire for me, but it's getting harder and harder for me to like get volume in. So what have I got to lose? So I decided to take a little look at the games, and my findings were that by recent modern online poker standards, the games are pretty decent. There aren't many nits around. There aren't many players with like low VPIPs. Plenty of like so-so regulars with like VPIPs between 20 and 30, as you would imagine. You expect to see on any poker site these days. But there also seems to be a decent supply of losing players and the occasional absolute whoppers. Maybe at most tables you can probably get one player with a VPIP of like 50% or higher. And if you play at the right times of day, you can get tables with multiple players with a VPIP of 50% or higher. So on like the Reggie time scale of game quality, from what I've seen so far in like a month or so, I rank them second only to Sky at the weekend. They're not as good as Sky is at the weekend, that's without question. Sky at the weekend is much better, but they're certainly better than Sky are Monday to Thursday. Most of my play now, Monday through Thursday, is going to be on these clubs, and not so much on Sky, which kind of demonstrates what I think of the games. Also, a friend of mine who plays 50 and 100 NL on Sky um, has been playing some of the highest stakes games on the network that I've moved to, like the equivalent of 100 NL, 150 NL in sterling, and he is certain that the games are way better than anything they can find on the mainstream sites, including Sky. He pretty much like just plays the occasional table on Sky now, and he has turned these into his main site. So he was a Sky 50 and 100 now player who's kind of said, right, fuck Sky for the time being. I'm going to play here because the games are better. So if he's saying that too, he's a person who I've got a ton of respect for. He's a very good winning player, and he's decided moving to this site is good for him. The clubs have to get my seal of approval in terms of game quality. It'd be foolish to say anything else. I mean, I've been very sceptical of these clubs in the past, but I'm much less nervous about them now. But as we talked about again above, I'm going to keep reiterating this. There is still an obvious risk when depositing to play on them, but it's like you've got to figure out is the risk reward worth it for you personally? For some players, it absolutely will be. For other players who are very risk averse and very careful with their money, it absolutely won't be. I'm not saying you should do it. I'm just saying perhaps now is the time that we need to start considering these options. And that's a decision for anyone who's thinking about playing these platforms. That's a decision you have to make. Are we willing to take the risks associated with playing on unregulated sites, to get access to better games than you can find on your traditional mainstream sites? For me, that's a risk I've decided I'm willing to take personally. And then the guy who runs the club I've been in regular contact with for a good while now, he's given me a minimum of 30% rate back, which does mitigate any financial risk we take by playing regulated sites. Because obviously we're not going to deposit all of our bankroll, we're going to just make small deposits, keep a minimum on the sites, and then when we get the rate back on top of hopefully an improved win rate, eventually, you would kind of hope that even if at some point something did go wrong and you lost 5 or 6 buy-ins that you had on the site, or maybe 10 buy-ins, or if just say for example in 5 months' time, something goes wrong with the club, it goes missing, and you lose the 10 buy-ins you had on the site. If you've made way more than 10 buy-ins in rate back alone, irrespective of your extra win rate, then overall you still have a net positive financial experience. Absolutely do not keep lots of money on any poker site. I've said that. You can go back through tons of my videos forever. I always advise keeping the absolute minimum on poker sites, and that certainly is the case with these sites too. Keep the absolute minimum. It's really easy to deposit and withdraw from these sites, so there's just no real reason to keep a penny more than you need on them. So yeah, I have always shied away from allowing club managers to advertise in my Facebook group, and anyone that's in the Facebook group will know that's true. Occasionally one will get through, they'll spam the message and it'll get deleted. So I've always shied away from allowing just random club managers to advertise in the group, because there are a lot of bad actors out there. That remains my policy and always will remain my policy. However, given my decent experience with the club manager I've been working with recently, if any of you guys would like me to put you in touch with him, I'm now willing to do that. It's again, please do your due diligence and then work out your own personal risk and reward before you do decide to play on these clubs. But if you have decided, fuck it, let's give it a go. If you do get in touch with me, I'll put you in touch with him, and then you can go from there. For complete full disclosure at this point, if you do decide to sign up with this guy after I put you in contact with him, he will be giving me 10% of any players I refer of their rate back. So you'll still get your 30%. I'll be getting 10%, so I will make a little bit of money from this, but I'm not expecting to get super rich off it, to be completely honest. But if I can create myself a small, short or long-term passive income through helping some of you guys find some better games, then for me, it's win-win for everyone, and I'm certainly not going to consider myself having compromised my integrity in any way. I am not the agent in this. I have absolutely no responsibility if you have any disputes with the club manager or anything else. I have no responsibility in any of that. None of it is any of my business. I'm just like the middleman. I say person A beat person B. You negotiate whatever you negotiate between yourselves, and any disputes are resolved between yourselves. It's nothing to do with me, and I will not be getting involved in any disputes that may or may not occur. Nor am I responsible for any losses incurred should there be a problem with the club. So in say, I don't know, 2 years down the line, the club goes under, you've got $500 on there. Sorry, that's on you. My money will be on there too, and it'll be on me also. So at no point can you come up to me and say, "Oh, I've lost this amount of money, and I expect you to pay me it." That absolutely 100% is not how it's going to work, and yeah, we just need to get that very clear up front. I'm just purely a middleman between the player and the club manager. Just he needs players introducing to him. Some players need introducing to a manager. I'm the guy that does that, and then what happens after that is purely between yourself and the club manager. So when you do reach out for me, I will just create a connection between you. Usually I try and do it in a Facebook group chat. Once I see you are both like make contact with each other, I then leave the chat. It's none of my business, and then Rob will just confirm to me that yes, this player signed up, no, they haven't. And as far as I'm concerned, that's it, job done. If you have any questions regarding how the site works, how the deposits work, how the withdrawals work, any technical issues installing the software, do not come to me for any of that. I'm not that good at all that kind of stuff. My knowledge just isn't there to help you with that. But the club manager does have all the knowledge that you're going to need to help you get set up with the clubs and get you set up with the site. I just don't have the time or the knowledge to answer your questions, to be honest. And I do encourage any of you, before you do sign up, to make sure you do your due diligence before committing to depositing. Make sure all the questions that you want answering are answered. I'm doing this now because pretty much the state of online micro stakes and low stakes cash games on mainstream sites is just, in my opinion, terrible. And now I genuinely think it's the right time for players to start looking for other games to play in. It's not a decision I've taken lightly to do it myself, because as you know, I'm pretty much a life nit. Anyone that's followed the channel or followed the Facebook group for a long time will know that I am a pretty major life nit. But if I'm going to continue having poker as one of my income streams, I'm going to need to play more than Thursday through to Sunday. I need to find somewhere to play Monday through Thursday, and this is the option that I have landed on, and maybe it's a good option for some of you guys too. Is it higher risk? Yeah, absolutely, of course it is. Is it a risk worth taking? On balance, I've decided that for me personally it is. Maybe it is for you too. Maybe it isn't. Only you can make that decision for yourself. If you do decide now's the time for you, then as I said, I will be able to hook you up with somebody who, as long as I've known him, it's probably 12 months or more now, he's always shown great integrity. When I've asked him not to post in the club, he hasn't posted in the club. I've asked him not to contact, when I've asked him not to post in Facebook, he hasn't posted in Facebook. I've asked him not to contact members privately, and to the best of my knowledge, he hasn't contacted members privately. He's always acted with complete integrity during all of my dealings with him, and yep, although I don't know him from a hole in the wall, I've never met him in real life, probably never will. To the best of my knowledge, he's a man of decent integrity, and it's pretty much all we can go on, really. As a man who prides himself on his integrity myself, this sits relatively comfortable with me. I'm expecting a bit of pushback from some people, some negative responses from a small number of people, because it does look a little bit like I'm selling out, and maybe to an extent I am. But if I didn't think it was in the best interests of many players, I wouldn't be saying it. I wouldn't just be saying, "Oh, come and play on these sites because I want to make 10% of your rate back." 10% of anyone's rate back is not a lot of money. It's not going to get me rich. If I got 10 players signed up, it would be worth like probably £100 or so a week to me. So it's not something I'm doing like to make a ton of money. Is something that I genuinely believe for many micro stakes players now. It's a small risk worth taking that probably will have better rewards than continuing to grind yourself to dust on the main site. So this is much more about trying to point you guys in the direction of games that you can actually make some money from than it is me trying to point you in the direction of games that I can make money from on the back of you. So to wrap up this very lengthy intro, I wasn't expecting it to be this long. Some of you guys will be tilted to fuck by it. There isn't even going to be that much poker after it, to be honest with you. Maybe I'll play for 45 minutes or so. If you have been thinking of playing on one of these like Triple P poker apps or like a U poker app for a little while, but you haven't taken the plunge yet, please do get in touch with me. The methods are listed beneath the video. Most of you guys are in the Facebook group. If not, my email and my Skype is listed beneath the video. If you get in touch with me via one of those methods, then I'll get back in touch with you and put you in touch with Rob, who runs the club that I'm a member of. So I'm about to play for a short while now, and hopefully some of you guys who are thinking, I might be interested in this, we can get a bit of a feel for the place. You're going to be able to see like what the games look like, what the software looks like, etc., and just give you a bit of a feel for the place, which will hopefully help you make a decision one way or the other. Apologies for the enormous intro, but I felt I had to cover quite a lot of stuff, and hopefully I have. So, yep, let's get on with playing some poker. So this is what the lobbies look like. You log in, you'll see these, and you go to the lobbies. You click no limit hold'em, then whichever stakes you're going to play. We're going to be playing the micro stakes today. We're not going to be playing this 20-40. These 51 games, they're the equivalent of 25 NL in sterling. So then you would just like click on the table. It will pull up, and then you click on a player's profile, and it gives you their basic stats. If you become like a higher ranking player, you will get the full like stats of all players that, as you can see, pre-FR, 3-bet, C-bet, winner, etc. Then there is quite a, not to say it's comprehensive, but there's a decent number of stats should you want them and be like a higher ranking player. And then you could tag your players accordingly, like this dude, 57 VPIP, we like that. This dude's got a 54% VPIP. This dude's probably going to be some kind of regular, but who knows. So that's what we could do with the PFR stats. And this dude, I've played him before, he seems quite a reggish player. So we'll take our seat. We'll buy in, and you can buy in for up to 500 big blinds. I typically buy in for like 150. And yeah, there we go. And we just do that through the other clients and hopefully get it to our 3 or 4 tables quite quickly. So we're just going to take the seat. It's not really about looking for like the really good tables right now. It's just about getting some games in and showing you guys what's going on. So this guy, look at this, 70% VPIP. We'll have a bit of use there. 65% VPIP. Happy days. Just to be aware, I am making this video at 10 to 10 in the morning UK time, and these are mostly Asian players. So it's, they're what, 8 hours ahead of us, so it's like 6 p.m. 6 p.m. in Thailand right now, where a lot of these players come from. So the games aren't always as juicy as these look. But yeah, these do look pretty good this morning. 287, we'll leave him again for now. We won't bother tagging him. And is there another table we can join? Not sure. Is this one I'm already at or not? No, it isn't. So we have a 33 VPIP player, 40 VPIP player. Anyone that's over 40, I tag as green immediately, by the way. 27, missing him at another table. Don't think we want to be playing three-handed just now. I want to try and show they do have like nine-handed tables too. For those of you who like to play on the tighter side and on the more cautious side, see what types of players frequent these tables. 38, that's a pretty high VPIP at full ring. It's got to be said. 23, we can be sure he's at least tight, if not a regular. So yeah, Probably going to play until the video reaches the 45 minute. Oh, look at that, limping, then X amount over bit. We're probably going to just play for around 25 minutes, so you guys just get a feel for what's going on. We will try and get a third table up, so the action isn't too slow. We've looked at that one, haven't we? Is there any empty tables? If you do log in, by the way, and there's no tables, Robbie's very good at if you message him and he's around, which is quite a lot, to be fair. He's pretty good at quickly like opening new tables for you. Like I could message him now. I'm not going to, but I could message him now and say there's no empty seats at 51, and he would pretty much just open a table within a few minutes. But as it is, fuck it, we'll just play some three-handed and hope the table fills. Not a big fan of playing short-handed, like super short-handed. It doesn't. I think not only does it not play to my strengths, I think it also exposes some of my weaknesses. But we'll do it today. I'm only going to be playing 20 minutes or so anyway. Well, certainly not going to be playing 20 minutes or so whilst recording. I think we're just flat here. Don't really want to open myself up to the 4-bet with the Jack 10 suited. Flop a pair, so we're going to be at least calling 1-bet. I'm just going to check this Jack to showdown. Expect to win. Don't expect to get called by worse if we bet. Limp min raised here. Not a nice situation with the King Jack offsuit, but not much we can do about it other than defend, given we're getting an absurd price and two potentially very fishy players. Obviously the flop's appalling for us, and we will not be contributing any more money to the pot. We'll be looking to try and get to showdown here with our Jack 9. Perhaps not now if we end up facing another barrel, which we do. Let it go. Our hand's pretty invulnerable here. If we're ahead, we're not likely to get sucked out on it. If we're not ahead, then not likely to improve past it, whatever's ahead of us. I am going to put a small raise in now, just to get some value from 3x, flush draws, worst queens. We've flopped pretty nicely here with our second set. And I'm just going to check back here given he called. I mean, we do miss value from like 3x or some smaller pocket pairs that might pay off. Got like less than a pot size bet left. No, I think we need to bet, don't we? I think if he has a king, he probably doesn't play it this way. I think we just need to bet. It would have been too nitty to check back there. Didn't make any money with our set, unfortunately. Well, no more than was already in there anyway, but never mind. I was tempting to flat there to let this like super loose guy in, but I'm just too strong a hand. We just need to 3-bet. I'm not going to 3-bet the jacks here, I don't think. Maybe dry flop. Don't think he checks a king very often. Don't really want to check call here versus a button stab, so we're just going to make a bet ourselves. Instantly calls. So we're going to be shutting down. 7's a pretty bad card. If we did have a 7, then obviously now we're fucked. We're fucked against a king. No real draws out there, so going to shut down with the jacks. And just fold to that bet. Maybe being bluffed. I'm not really sure what floats that flop, then decides to bet the turn that's worse than us, unless it's just an absolute pure float, which wouldn't make a ton of sense. Need to get out of that bad habit of using the preset buttons when we're just not in any rush whatsoever. Although on this occasion it would have been more profitable just to have folded pre-flop. if you want to type a bet size in rather than just use the preset buttons, you can do that. Click the top button, it brings up like the mini number pad where you can type a specific bet size in. I'm going to fire a second barrel here, given we picked up the straight draw, and if he calls, just going to give up on the river. Unimproved, but we take it down. King 9. What to do with the King 9? A little bit loosey-goosey, but we'll open it anyway. It's 3-bet versus this dude. Been very active on the button. Snap calls. Do flop a good shot. Use my Tom Dwan sizing. He used to like betting 13,200 quite a lot. Snap calls again. Pretty bad turn card to barrel on. Guess we're just going to need to give up here. He did snap call. We'll top up and go again. Get the feeling this dude's probably just like a, don't know. Doesn't feel like he's good given the speed at which he's doing things. Yeah, could be wrong. That's where you could definitely do more stats. Because if he's like 33-30 with like an almost 0% 4-3 bet, then maybe we could have fired a second barrel there. Who knows? Felt kind of shit there to just give up on the turn, given we did have a good shot. And he snap called pre and snap called the flop, which wouldn't be an indication of him being like mega strong. But do I think players in these limits are likely to like fold an ace there if they've got like an ace 10 suited or something? Probably not. Don't think he had like better than one pair, but he often given the speed of his flop call. I think he likely has just an ace a decent amount of the time. Maybe stuff like ace 5 suited and whatever that probably should fall to a big barrel, but yeah, Maybe you could just have fucking ripped it in there, put massive pressure on his weak aces. It's a pretty disappointing flop. We're going to make our C bet just to like try and collect any dead money that's out there. Get called. Turn to king. Feels like I want to make a small barrel here. Feels like it's maybe a good card to try and represent. Clearly not. Then the ace on the river, which I think now we just jam on. And hope he doesn't have a 3. He does have a 3. That's not nice. That wasn't fun. Nice answer. This guy seems pretty tight. Don't want to defend the ace 9 versus 4.5x, I don't think. Was tempted to 3-bet there with the king 8 suited, but again, this is certainly be one of the tighter players in the games, judging by the 22%, so don't really need to go butting heads with those types. That's disappointing. I was hoping to see a flop with the Queen Jack suited, but we won't be anymore. Oops. Right, so he's opened. I still think we're going to go with the 3-bet versus somebody with a VPIP of 33%. I mean, we don't know how these VPIPs are like made up. Maybe he's a table starter and he plays short-handed a lot and he's really quite tight. Who knows? But we can only really use the information that's available to us at the time. Eight of diamonds. Feels like a card I want to double barrel on, given we have the Jack of diamonds, but he just donks straight into us, which is disappointing in one respect, but perhaps saves his money in another. If he did have a hand that he liked, by leading into us, it prevents us from bluffing into him. Do we squeeze the ace-10 here with we got a 70 VPIP player? I think we try to. Need to try and get these huge whales heads up where possible. We fail to get heads up. We do flop a gutter ball to the nuts. Instantly raises there. I'm not really sure why you would do that. Doesn't feel like it's, if you do have like a really strong hand here, like a set or something, why on earth would you want to raise with the fish behind? But I guess it's just the day that we're not going to connect and everyone's going to be aggressive against us. That's completely fine. I'm quite happy being in games like that. Let's try something mega fishy with the aces. Let's be mega fishy and hope somebody goes with an isolation attempt. It's so obvious we're telegraphing what we have here, but maybe it works anyway. No. I do like having the ability to like buy in more than 100 blinds deep. I think it significantly changes the dynamic pre-flop in many ways, and in a way that I actually like. I think it just, a lot of the all-in pre-flop bullshit's gone. I mean, when you're 160, 200 blinds deep with people, the all-in pre-flop is just way less of an option. People, I prefer much more of a post-flop player than I'm a pre-flop player, I believe. So I like that. I like playing deeper than 100 blinds deep. disappointing that we haven't had a single c-bet get through yet. We finally flopped the world and our c-bet sails through. Let's see, I don't think this table is that good right now. I mean, it's not terrible. I mean, we only have one player with a VPIP below 25, excluding ourselves, so it can't be a terrible table, but there's way better tables to be found than this one. I think the same goes for this one too. We could probably close these tables and start some new ones and get ourselves in much better games, but as I'm going to have some breakfast in a moment and wrap the video up, it's not the right time to do that. But hopefully you guys have had a chance to get a feel for the site, the software, like the player types. It's not been a comprehensive review by any means. With 2 overcards, backdoor everything, it's a pretty easy c-bet with the ace king. But I think we're going to leave it there for the video. Wasn't intending to make like a long playing video. It's very much more about just getting the message out there that I wanted to get out, which I have now done. So hope you guys have got something from this. Hope to hear from some of you soon. If I don't, good luck with your grind. Maybe we'll do some more videos on this network going forward. Who knows? I haven't made any videos in about a month, fully aware of that. Not intending to make any more on Sky or anything like that. But maybe we'll make some more on here, just as much as anything to try and generate some business, I guess would be the best way of putting it. So we'll leave it there. Hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Well, let's play the ace queen, then we'll get ready to leave this table, because it's just all very much tight players now, it seems. Maybe this guy's not too tight. Been 3-bet by a relatively tight player. Don't think I like calling very much here, but I quite like 4-bet folding, I think, to like 26, something like that. So we are 150 blinds deep, thereabouts. So it does make it hard for him just to like ram hands in my face. Let's exit the table. Oh, it's dealt us cards. It was too slow. Too slow, Reggie. Right, we'll leave it there for the video, otherwise we'll be here all day. Yeah, hope you guys have got something from it. If not, then never mind. If you have, I hope to hear from you. Take care, everybody, and goodbye for now.